We are passing in an age of financial turbulence, financial tumor, financial tribulations. So I came out with the term financial fitness. So just like health problems are caused by junk food, wealth problems are caused by junk expenditures. You must make a list of your expenses, monthly expenses. Every man should make it. Where his 1 rupee goes, every housewife or homemaker should make it. Where his each rupee goes. It is the grading of the teacher that determines the standard of a school. Believe me, which people ignore it. Whenever somebody from my circle wants to go to choose a school, I say don't look at the campus. Meet few teachers. Check out their communication skills. That's all. Don't ask the brochure also. Meet few teachers. Talk to them. See how their communication is, English, manners. You see that and you decide. Education now has become a business. Now when education becomes a business instead of public service, the fallout of education is also business. So how much you spend on education does not determine the career of your child. It is how you educate your child that determines your children's future career. Because when he steps into a career or a profession, people will not keep on asking him to tie his degree and top grades on his neck and let people see. And if he's not get the size of the cabin, is not equal to the size of your percentage. Sometimes you have to request for a job from the person who is uneducated and you are a topper. So career is basically defined by your personality.
Assalamu alaikum, Nisaar bhai. How are you doing?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Umar. Always blessings of Allah, fadlullah, duas of parents and all well-wishers, including you.
We would like to have a discussion on financial fitness, as you are, discussing a lot about wealth, ethical wealth, and about career guidance, and a lot of things, tips you are giving to people. And especially during the pandemic, I've seen a lot of beneficial content from your side. Now, discussing about financial fitness, how important it is in our times where there's so much of there's so much of problems relating to financial crunches, and you find a lot of people suffering without jobs and a lot of unemployment, and everybody is having their own story. Somebody is sacked off from the job, and a lot of challenges in today's times. And what is it all about financial fitness that you have planned across?
We are passing in an age of financial turbulence, financial tumor, financial tribulations. So I came out with the term financial fitness. When we see the expense sheet of ours, family budget, where my earned money goes, I am earning, suppose, 40,000 rupees a month. So where does it go? Most of us do not keep a watch on it. They just pull out from ATM 500, 1,000, they give it to the auto and chaiwala, restaurant, this and that. So actually, if you learn to make a list of your expenses, that particular sheet will be called as your health report of finance, your financial health report. Like we have blood report telling us about body. Similarly, the expense sheet will tell us about the health of our finance. And once you cut off most of the unwanted expenses that are luxury oriented, even if it is non-necessity, non-important, you will notice that your financial health is okay. So just like health problems are caused by junk food, wealth problems are caused by junk expenditures. A large number of people are very careless about it. And those who are very particular, unfortunately, we label them as misers, but they are not misers. Each one has a right to see where his rupee goes. Each one has a right to bargain even for 1 rupee. That is his right. It is not a miser. He is not a miser. So this is actually, Umar, what financial fitness is all about.
I have to share an experience with my own life. Like in the earlier 20s, early 20s and 30s, I was feeling a lot of freedom within myself. In the sense, the responsibilities were very less. And as days were progressing, I could sense my responsibilities are increasing with regards to giving good education to my children and to meet up to the standards in the society. A lot of things that you have to keep up with the pace, and even to keep them entertained. A lot of things has to be planned out. To be in a city like any metropolitan or cosmopolitan city, people would want to match up to the status where everybody is kind of acquainted with. So if somebody is not able to meet up to that standards, then that really feels a kind of inferiority complex within the society. So how do you think that people need to plan their entertainment days and their leisure days with regards to maintaining a balance between the expenditure part and at the same time giving the recreation for the family members, which is due, which is their, I think it is one of their rights, I would say, in today's world. What do you have to say about that?
See, we have to notice that we are in an age of fake news, fake information, fake image, fake show off. Everybody is trying to look younger than he or she is. If you go to the beaches and the joggers park, the grandfathers and the grand uncles and grand aunties wearing slacks and tracksuits, and they don't even tolerate if you call them uncle. You have to call them Mr. Nadiadwala or Nisaar bhai, otherwise they will feel bad. So similarly, everybody wants to look richer than they are. So even if you are not affording a car, you will buy it on EMI. So you have to now cut down your expenses somewhere to pay the EMI. So in order to look rich, and what is this richness all about? To tell the people that we have a status. This is the sad thing of our times, that the status is not measured by the character or the noble conduct of a person, but by his financial status, standing in the financial status. Similarly, even when we see the weddings, why are our weddings so lavish? They go with the whole family, everybody is attending, and in that wedding of 3 hours, everybody want to project कि साहब खाना कैसा लगा, how was the food, how was the bride, how were the in-laws, and how was the decoration, on and on and on. So this is a product of show off. We are living in an age of fake image, and people want to look richer, younger, more brilliant. That's why you know lots of plagiarization, copy pasters in internet also. Umar, people used to copy paste my article and they used to post it on their names.
Such a phony
So it's
world.
all about fake talents.
Yeah. We are living in a world where people wants to be very phony and they don't feel ashamed of being so.
It was there, Umar, during my school days also. Fake show off. In those days, there were foreign cigarettes were not allowed in India. Very expensive, very expensive. So what used to happen? Some boys, they wanted to show off. So they used to pick up Marlboro or Dunhill cigarette empty box somewhere, and they used to put it in the pocket. And a Marlboro and Dunhill is seen. And they used to pull out and smoke from that pocket. Inside the box, there are Indian cigarettes. Though nobody sees your cigarette. People see your box. In the same way, when I go to Dubai, whenever I'm supposed to meet a VIP, the appointment is in the hotel, 5-star hotel. So my friend suggests, you hire a Mercedes or a BMW for one day and go with a pomp and show, though the person is not going to come out to see it. So people have started weighing you by how you look and how you present.
Okay, coming to this point, which is also haunting a lot of people. I find a lot of people contacting many organizations and seeking help for their child's education in today's time. There are many things that you can cut down. Of course, if there is any lavish expenses or any luxurious expense, we can say like you can cut down. But in matters of education, how would anyone think of cutting down the expense when to provide a basic education to any school, again, in city, it is something like it's going to cost about 1 lakh per year. That is like the minimum I can talk of. And people don't have that kind of a money, and they are looking for alternatives. What do you have to suggest for these people?
I'm very open about it, very frank, very bold, very fearless, that the convent schools, the public schools, which charge 300, 400, 500 per rupees per month per student, are still better than those private schools which are branded. The branding is done to justify the image and the fees of the school. There is no other purpose of branding. If these schools were in America, each school would have been gone under the law that what you had promised was not given to us. But in our country, it is not like that. Secondly, 1/3 of the expenses of a family is spent on the education of children. Now, this commercialization of education has become a brand.
Yeah.
I personally prefer NIOS, National Open Schooling. I personally prefer IGNOU. Their degrees, their syllabus is been drafted awesome. There is no second doubt about it. Yes, I've studied it. So what I feel that people undervalue government and public schools. They think that these are not enough. But if we study the doctors whom we go for treatment 20 years ago, they were in the same schools. The surgeons, the engineers, the IT engineers, the mechanical, everybody has come from the convent schools. Or even some of them are even from vernacular medium, Kannada or Gujarati, Marathi. Some of them are from there. In Maharashtra, large number of doctors, they are from Maharashtrian community. So how much you spend on education does not determine the career of your child. It is how you educate your child that determines your children's future career. Because when he steps into a career or a profession, people will not keep on asking him to tie his degree and top grades on his neck and let people see. And he will not get the size of the cabin, is not equal to the size of your percentage. Sometimes you have to request for a job from the person who is uneducated and you are a topper. So career is basically defined by your personality. Otherwise, you will never hear somebody saying or claiming that I have hired you after reading your CV. They call you for the interview. Why? Because they want to see your manners, they want to see your thoughts, they want to know how you talk with people, how you talk, how you communicate. After seeing this, still they are not sure that how you are efficient, how efficient you are in the field of their profession. So they give a probation period. So there are 3 steps. CV, just it gets you an appointment for interview. Interview, it gets a job. But that month of probation, 1, 2, 3 months, that probatory month will decide what kind of a person you are. Before the boss finalizes of hiring you for a longer time, he will ask your subordinates, even juniors, the clerk, the security, the driver, the manager, the team members, everybody will be asked before the decision is taken that he should be hired or whether he suffices the high fees or not. So this has become education. People have always misunderstood education.
I think you have a very valid point. I think it's more of an inferiority complex that is not letting people to go for government schools or government institutions. Because generally people want to know which school is your son studying or which school is your daughter studying. And people want to give the names of the really prominent ones, in the city. And if at all they say like my son or daughter is studying in a government school, it is something which is below their standards. That's kind of a mindset. So I think from your discussion so far, I feel people should first break this notion of trying to impress people. Isn't it? Isn't it what the crux of the matter is all about?
I tell you why it is difficult to break it. Because where can you break from? You have to break only through media. How will you reach out? But when you go to the media, you will notice that they are taking advertisements from these branded schools and the public schools don't advertise themselves. So how will we get the differences? I always appreciated when the rankings were done in my school days. First rank, second rank, third rank, this much percentage, that much percentage. That was helping us to decide a school and their teachers. Grading of teacher is also essential. But swiftly, they have hidden it now. A, B, C, D. So everybody gets A, B, C, D now. So the branded school are easily able to project themselves better options. So they have boy wearing a blazer and giving a talk in English. and swimming pools, a small swimming pool is there. So the boys are swimming. I don't know throughout the year how many times the children swim. Very few times. How many times they wear the blazer in a hot climate like India? But it is like that. So it is all about branding. So it is difficult for those people who go to public school for them to prove otherwise, that this school is actually even today the better than them, because these teachers in public schools, they are those teachers who have been teaching for 20 years, 25 years, the same textbook. They can close their eyes and teach without opening the text. They can explain a sum from 3 different angles. That is why we should always know how to choose and how to grade a school. Most of the parents don't know. One of my friend opted for a private school. I said, what is the best thing about this school? The building structure. I said, what structure has impact on your child's education? He said, the psychology. But there is no psychology. I said, we were all studying in the school where while teacher was teaching, there used to be a cat jumping in the classroom and running away into the out from another window, and a dog would chase it. And this is how we became graduates and postgraduates. Some of us became doctors and engineers also. So what has structure to do? It is the grading of the teacher that determines the standard of a school. Believe me, which people ignore it. Whenever somebody from my circle wants to go to choose a school, I say, don't look at the campus. Meet few teachers. Check out their communication skills. That's all. Don't ask the brochure also. Meet few teachers. Talk to them. See how their communication is, English, manners. You see that and you decide. Because a good teacher will always be professional. They have that ability of authority as a teacher. They can discipline a class of 45 people. But a private school, because they are charging so much of money, so they have to treat the children like customers and clients and not like students.
So now coming to the next question would be about the expenses with regards to healthcare. You know, in most of the countries across the world, the developed countries, those which are well-to-do countries, there they spend a lot of money on healthcare, and the healthcare system is very good. It's so unfortunate that in India, a country like India, where we spend a lot of money, but still the quality is very mediocre. And at times, you know, even the private hospitals, they really con the people, they cheat the people. Like for instance, during the pandemic, we heard many cases wherein a patient was kept for about a week or two, and they really, you know, they sucked a lot of money out of that person, nearly 10 lakhs and 13 lakhs for a treatment for which there is no medicine found. And it's all experimental situation where they were spending that kind of a high money, and people were really fooled actually. So how do you expect people to take care of their health during the pandemic times while not spending a lot of money in hospitals, and to save some little money which they have earned? Because today's education is one expense, the other expense is there in medical expense, medical aid and healthcare. So this is something which I think people need to plan in advance. What do you have to say about that?
One thing we have to notice, if I spend 56 lakh rupees to make my son MBBS, and he takes up a job of even 50,000 rupees per month, which is not the salary of a MBBS doctor in India, 35-40,000 non-pandemic. So how many years will he take to get my money back? 100 months. That is around 8.5 years or 9 years. So I have to wait for 9 years to get my money back with depreciation, not appreciation. With appreciation, another 5 years. So what I do, I take some more loan. This is what people are doing, and start a hospital and charge people like this, because education now has become a business. Now, when education becomes a business instead of public service, the fallout of education is also business. Your IT engineers are also business, because they are also now money oriented. My parents spent 50 lakh rupees to make me an IT engineer. How much salary can India give me? So he goes to America, Canada, and that is where people are going. Where is our brain going? That side. With those who stay back in India, the doctors, they have no option. They will start taking cuts. from the medical pharmacies by prescribing their medicines. So, and they even get cuts for sending you to specialist also. Why? Because he wants his money back. If not this, he will expect a very high dowry from the girl is getting married, because I have trained my son to become a doctor and I spent a lot of things. So this is all becoming a business now. It started with education turning into a business. I would always be happy if all the schools would be once again going back to the traditional way of teaching. Instead of branding, there should be no branding and advertisements of schools. If I were in government, I would have passed an order. No advertisement of school. Let the people come to know any school is as good as it is. It is the duty of the government. Every school has to be as good as the other school. Whether it is Nadiadwala High School or whether it is St. Peter, Don Bosco, St. Xavier's, they all have to provide that particular education to their children. And you see the results in 10 years.
I think the solutions are long term, and it has to come through a gradual process. It cannot happen overnight. That's what we can understand. Now, for short term planning, if a person is earning some money and today he is unable to save, he's unable to make some savings and plan for something at the end of the year, because whatever he's earning, he's spending, and he sometimes falls short of his needs, and therefore he starts borrowing. Somehow it does happen. So what are the tips for saving money so that he can use something of that for the end of the year?
15 years ago or 20 years ago, there was one telephone for the whole family. Today, that expenses has become compulsory now. Basic necessity, each one should have an Android, no less than an Android. And each one has his own GB data. So now you multiply those expenses. Then going to restaurant is becoming a fashion now. It is becoming a basic necessity. The wives tell their husbands that we don't go out for movies and here and there. At least take us to a restaurant. So when you go to a restaurant, a mandi restaurant or a biryani restaurant, 5 of you, the bill comes to 1,200 to 500, because the waiters over there, they are also salesmen. Ma'am, will you have ice creams? Would you have starters? We have planned to have a chicken biryani. But now he is, trying to tempt us like a salesman, because he also gets incentives if the bill is more. So he pushes down our throat, colas, ice creams, and starters. So what was a budget of 500-600, it stretches up to 1,200, 1,300, and 1,400. So once 4 times a month, 6,000 rupees gone. So what I suggest, you must make a list of your expenses, monthly expenses. Every man should make it. Where his 1 rupee goes, every housewife or homemaker should make it. Where his each rupee goes. And then sit down quietly and discuss which were expenses not essential, where both of you agree. If one of them disagrees, okay, justified. But if both of you agree, then if you notice, 1/3 of your expenses will be saved, and that money you can spend on your children's education. This is the best thing. So this is how things should work out, that if you cut down your expenses, lots of social problems automatically will be diluted.
I think the crux of your advice is that encouraging people to become a minimalist. I see from the beginning of your discourse that you are propounding the idea of being a minimalist and cutting down on unwanted expenses and leading a simple life and pursuing that which is within our affordable state. Isn't that what you are mainly highlighting in the course of the discussion?
The definition of simplicity has changed now. Now this kurta 25 years ago for a middle class was a luxury.
I know.
Now I must have 3 pair. Why? Because I have to appear on webinars, I have to go to my child's school. So there should be 3, 4, 5. So now what was simple once upon a time has become a luxury now. So this was a luxury once upon a time. I'm sorry. This was a luxury once upon a time. I couldn't afford this.
It looks luxurious even now. It looks luxurious.
No, now everybody buys it. Everybody has these types of dresses now. Unless you have this Bangladesh coming up to our help, sending products which looks very beautiful like international brands, but are very cheap.
Right.
So that is what I mean to say. Simplicity actually means not to spend more than your needs. Spending on desire leads you to step out of simplicity. Spending on necessity is compulsory. But now necessity also differs. You have two sons. The older son eats 3 chapatis and the younger son eats 5 chapatis. So there cannot be equality over here. Here, this is necessity. That is his appetite and this is his appetite. But your son says, I must have a Pepsi Cola with my lunch every day. So now that has to be stopped. That is not luxury. No, that is luxury. That is not simplicity.
Right.
So it all depends upon how you look at simplicity. I know rich people whose houses, bungalows are simple. I see middle class whose houses are very expensively decorated.
I think based on the discussion that we are having now, I think there is a need for educating the masses and counseling them as to how to maintain their financial fitness. I think there has to be a counseling session, sometimes one-to-one sessions, sometimes a group session. It is required because young people, when they get married, of course, most of us can relate. When we get married, we think of getting together with another person in life and starting a new journey, but we don't know how to manage at that point. The whole thing is a new world. People talk about a new world order is beginning. So when a person gets married, a new world order is coming in front of him. And especially for the youths today, they don't know much of the real world out there. So I think you need to cater to the needs of the financial fitness, which can reach out to the young minds and for the people who are in need in general. What do you have in mind for that? I mean, do you have any program or any written content or any planned counseling sessions? It's really needed. It's really needed.
I'm coming out with financial crisis and fitness.
Okay.
I will be making one course. I'm already making it. It's already into this. Before this, I have come out with this, the 8 Angels program, which is going to be hosted from next week onwards, about careers and professional preparation. How boys should be prepared for professionalism right from their childhood. This course actually is not meant for only individuals, but it is meant for the whole family. You pay one person fees, sit with a big screen, and all of you should sit together and watch on the big screen and learn. Secondly, about finance, we can't have just counseling. We require training of building a mindset. In counseling, you only give advice and they go away. But in training, you are giving them assignments. You are expecting them to do something. There are some activities. So even out of 10 things, if they apply 3 to 4 things, they will benefit a lot. So this is what I'm planning, financial fitness during financial crisis. Inshallah. In a couple of months.
Wonderful as usual. It was really a heartwarming discussion, which was really enlightening and very beneficial and rejuvenating and replenishing, which is really motivating at the end of the day. It's filled with a lot of great reminders based on the Sunnah, based on the ethics of living a good life. I think it can only come from a person who's already matured and seasoned with the
and seen a lot of financial loss,
with the tests of life.
Proverbs, seen poverty, went through difficult finance.
Yeah, he's been batted left and right, and he has understood the nuances of it. So I think we must give you the credit for having presented such wonderful thoughts in a very lucid manner. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you and your family and your work. We thank you for having participated in today's discussion. We look forward for the career workouts, which is coming soon. And I'm all excited as usual to hear to Ustad Nisaar Nadiadwala, brother Nisaar Nadiadwala once again. So thank you very much. Your last words at this point.
Yes, for those who have not yet enrolled, I will urge them to enroll, because what fees you are going to pay, it is so that you take it seriously, number one. Number two, the money that you pay us will be spent in 2 days. What is 500, 600, 700 rupees? But the thing that you will get in return will be with you and your next generation. So we are giving you multiple times more. So see to it that you participate in these workshops. If such workshops were in my days, I would have paid a lot to learn. But now only they have started doing it. I'm also, even today, I'm learning from Americans, Britishers, when they host such types of workshops, which I require to learn. So these are the things which you should. And these are my parting words. Hopefully, I wish to see you all in our
Yes.
workshop.
So that was Nisaar Nadiadwala ji with us. Jazakumullah khairan for viewing this program. Thank you one and all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.